Hello, night traveler. This is Linus, your dreamweaver for magical nights. Wrap yourself in your blanket and let your imagination run free as we venture through the enchanted paths of magical and fantastic tales. Tonight, our stories unfold in a world where magic is real and mythical creatures live among us. In the enchanted land of Eldoria, a young sorceress named Rhiannon has an extraordinary gift, the ability to communicate with these creatures. But on a full moon night, an unexpected event changes everything. Ready to dream? Eldoria was a realm where magic and nature intertwined inseparably. Majestic mountains rose on the horizon, their snow-covered peaks gleaming in the sunlight. Crystal-clear rivers meandered through the forests, whispering ancient secrets. The vast ancient woods, shrouded in a mystical mist, were home to magical creatures and ancestral spirits. Celtic traditions were deeply rooted in daily life, with seasonal festivals, harvest rituals, and ceremonies honoring the gods and spirits of the land. Rhiannon was born in a small village on the edge of Ardara Forest, a place where Celtic tales and legends were passed down from generation to generation. From an early age, she showed unusual abilities that set her apart from other children. Her ability to understand and converse with mythical creatures like fairies, dragons, and unicorns made her unique. While other children played common games, Rhiannon spent hours in the forest, interacting with these magical entities and learning their secrets. Her connection with nature and magical beings was so strong that it seemed almost innate. The villagers, fascinated and intrigued, watched her with curiosity. Some saw her as a protector, someone who could mediate conflicts between humans and magical beings. Others, however, feared her power, considering it dangerous and unpredictable. Rhiannon, despite her youth, used her abilities wisely, always seeking harmony and understanding between the two worlds. Her parents, though worried about her solitary inclination, supported her explorations, recognizing the importance of her gift. They knew Rhiannon was destined for great things and that her ability to communicate with the magical world was a blessing for all of Eldoria. Over the years, this understanding solidified Rhiannon's role as the guardian of the forest's secrets. Rhiannon grew up under the guidance of her mentor Ilara, a renowned sorceress known for her wisdom and power. Ilara recognized Rhiannon's potential and took her in as an apprentice. Under her tutelage, Rhiannon learned to channel and enhance her gifts. Ilara taught her that true magic comes from the heart and pure intention. She encouraged Rhiannon to use her communication with creatures as a bridge for peace and cooperation. Over time, the young sorceress became a central figure in Eldoria, known for her ability to resolve disputes and promote peaceful coexistence. Ilara's lessons went beyond spells and enchantments. She taught Rhiannon to respect nature and understand the interconnectedness of all living things. Every plant, animal, and stone had its own spirit and purpose. Rhiannon learned to listen to the voice of the forest, to feel the earth's energy beneath her feet, and to hear the whispers of the winds. These skills made her an effective mediator, capable of calming storms and resolving conflicts between humans and magical beings. However, Rhiannon's life was about to change drastically. An unexpected event would lead her on a journey that would test not only her magical abilities but also her courage and determination. It all began on a full moon night when an ancient secret of the forest surfaced, launching Rhiannon into an adventure she would never forget. On a full moon night, Rhiannon's curiosity led her to explore deeper into the forest than ever before. The forest, with its ancient trees and hidden mysteries, always fascinated her. She felt something calling her that night, an invisible force guiding her to an unknown destiny. It was then that, among the roots of a majestic tree, she found an ancient spellbook. The book, covered in moss and filled with enigmatic symbols, seemed to pulse with magical energy. As she opened the book, Rhiannon felt a wave of power emanating from the pages. She knew she was in the presence of something extraordinary. The pages were filled with forgotten spells and enchantments, each more fascinating than the last. Unable to contain her excitement, she began to flip through the book, absorbing the knowledge it offered. The magical words flowed from her lips almost automatically, as if she had known those spells for a long time. Then Rhiannon made a crucial mistake. Without fully understanding the nature of the spell, she recited an ancient invocation. In an instant, a malicious spirit was released. The forest, which had seemed welcoming before, became a place of shadows and unsettling murmurs. The spirit, enraged by centuries of confinement, began to spread chaos throughout the kingdom of Eldoria. Desperate, Rhiannon tried to reverse the spell, but her attempts were in vain. The spirit was too powerful to be contained by someone inexperienced. Feeling responsible for the ensuing chaos, she knew she needed to act quickly to correct her mistake. With a heavy heart, she decided to seek the guidance of her mentor, Elara, in hopes of finding a solution to the problem she had created. As she returned to the village, Rhiannon reflected on the gravity of her actions. She had always known that magic should be used responsibly, but the discovery of the book had blinded her with its thirst for knowledge. Now, she faced the consequences of her recklessness. Determined to correct her error, she mentally prepared for what lay ahead. Upon arriving at Elara's house, Rhiannon was greeted with concern. The mentor, hearing about the released spirit, immediately understood the seriousness of the situation. Together, they began to study the spellbook, trying to find a way to contain the spirit before it was too late. Elara explained that the spirit was not just a common entity but an ancient force that would require a very powerful containment spell. Rhiannon, despite her fear, was determined to do whatever was necessary to restore peace in Eldoria. With Elara's support, she began to plan her next move. They needed specific ingredients for the containment spell, and these ingredients were scattered across the remotest corners of the kingdom. Knowing the journey would be dangerous, Rhiannon prepared to face any challenge that lay ahead. With the map and protective amulet provided by Elara, Rhiannon set out in search of the necessary ingredients. Her journey would be long and full of dangers, but she knew she could not fail. The fate of Eldoria was in her hands, and she was determined to do everything in her power to save her kingdom from chaos. Returning to the village, Rhiannon rushed to Elara's house, her mentor and guide. Elara was meditating in her enchanted garden when Rhiannon arrived, breathless and frightened. Elara's wisdom was known to all, and Rhiannon knew she would have the answers she sought. Upon hearing about the malicious spirit that had been released, Elara immediately understood the gravity of the situation and the need to act quickly. Elara, with her vast experience and knowledge, explained to Rhiannon that the spirit was an ancient and powerful entity imprisoned for centuries by ancient wizards. This spirit, known for its ability to cause chaos and destruction, had accumulated deep resentment during its confinement. Its release could result in catastrophe for the entire kingdom of Eldoria if not contained quickly. With a serious expression, Elara told Rhiannon that the only way to capture and contain the spirit was by using an extremely powerful and complex containment spell. This spell required rare and difficult-to-find ingredients scattered across the most dangerous places in Eldoria. Elara knew that the journey to obtain these ingredients would be arduous and full of deadly challenges. Rhiannon, determined to correct her mistake, listened attentively to Elara's instructions. The mentor outlined the steps needed to perform the containment spell, highlighting the importance of each ingredient and the dangers associated with obtaining them. Rhiannon would need to be prepared to face hostile creatures, magical traps, and relentless forces of nature. Elara also warned Rhiannon about the importance of keeping her mind clear and her heart pure during the journey. Any hesitation or doubt could be fatal, as the malicious spirit could detect her weaknesses and use them against her. Elara provided Rhiannon with a protective amulet, which would help guide and protect her against malevolent influences. With a heavy but determined heart, Rhiannon accepted the responsibility that lay before her. She knew that Eldoria's safety depended on her courage and skill. Bidding farewell to Elara, Rhiannon began to prepare for the journey. She gathered supplies, reviewed the ancient map Elara had given her, and meditated on her mentor's words. Before leaving, Elara gave Rhiannon one last piece of advice: to trust her intuition and the allies she would find along the way. She reminded Rhiannon that, although the journey would be dangerous, she did not have to face it alone. The forest and its inhabitants could offer help and guidance as long as Rhiannon knew how to ask. With these encouraging words, Rhiannon felt a renewed determination. She knew the journey would be difficult, but she also knew she was prepared to face any challenge. With Alara's protective amulet around her neck and her mentor's wisdom in her mind, Rhiannon set out on her mission, ready to face the dangers and save Eldoria from imminent chaos. With the map and the amulet in hand, Rhiannon set out on her journey, knowing the road ahead would be full of dangers and challenges. Her first stop was a mysterious cave located at the base of the Dark Mountains. The cave was known to house a magical flower that only bloomed under the light of the full moon, one of the essential ingredients for the containment spell. However, the cave was guarded by an ancient dragon, a creature feared by all. As she approached the cave, Rhiannon felt the intimidating presence of the dragon. Instead of using brute force, she chose to use her communication skills. Approaching calmly and respectfully, Rhiannon spoke to the dragon, explaining her mission and asking for its help. The dragon, initially suspicious, was gradually convinced by Rhiannon's sincerity and courage. In a rare act of benevolence, he allowed her to pick the magical flower, as long as she promised to protect the forest. With the first ingredient in hand, Rhiannon continued her journey, this time heading towards the enchanted river. The waters of this crystal-clear river had magical properties and were guarded by mermaids who did not trust strangers. Upon reaching the river's banks, Rhiannon met the mermaids, who were worried about a plague affecting their waters. Using her empathy and communication skills, Rhiannon offered her help to heal the river in exchange for a bottle of the magical water. The mermaids, touched by Rhiannon's offer, agreed to help her. Combining their magical powers, they managed to purify the river and restore its purity. In gratitude, the mermaids gave Rhiannon the magical water she needed. This act of collaboration strengthened Rhiannon's determination and showed her that, even in times of crisis, mutual help and understanding could overcome any obstacle. The journey continued, leading Rhiannon to an ancient forest where she needed to find a rare crystal hidden in a sacred tree. The forest was a labyrinth of gigantic trees and treacherous paths, inhabited by nature's spirits that guarded their secrets. Rhiannon knew she needed to earn the trust of these spirits to obtain the crystal. She communicated with the spirits, showing respect and asking for permission to take the crystal. The spirits, impressed by Rhiannon's honesty and respect, agreed to help her. They guided Rhiannon to the sacred tree, where she found the crystal glowing with its own light. With another ingredient in hand, Rhiannon felt closer to completing her mission but knew there was still much to be done. The next stage of the journey took Rhiannon to a frozen mountain where she needed to find a magical stone. The mountain was a physical and mental challenge, with cutting winds and extreme temperatures. Rhiannon faced avalanches and treacherous terrain, but her determination kept her going. At the top of the mountain, she found the magical stone, glowing with the energy of the stars. On her way back, Rhiannon met a group of elders living in an isolated village. They were known for their wisdom and magical abilities. Rhiannon told them about her mission and asked for guidance on how to use the ingredients she had collected. The elders, impressed by her courage and dedication, taught her the final details of the containment spell. With all the ingredients gathered and the necessary knowledge, Rhiannon prepared for the final confrontation with the malevolent spirit. She knew the battle would be tough, but she was confident in her abilities and the power of understanding and cooperation. With Alara's amulet by her side and the support of the allies she had made along the way, Rhiannon was ready to face the spirit and save Eldoria. With all the ingredients gathered and the necessary knowledge, Rhiannon knew she was ready to face the spirit. The final encounter took place in a moonlit clearing, where the spirit manifested with all its fury. The atmosphere was charged with malevolent energy, and the air seemed to vibrate with the spirit's threatening presence. However, instead of immediately using the containment spell, Rhiannon decided to try a different approach. She remembered Alara's words about understanding and empathy. Rhiannon began talking to the spirit, trying to understand its motivations and feelings. With a calm and firm voice, she explained that she didn't want to cause more suffering but rather seek a peaceful solution. Gradually, she discovered that the spirit was not inherently evil but deeply hurt and lonely. After centuries of confinement, it only wanted to be heard and understood. This revelation touched Rhiannon's heart, who decided to use her communication skills to calm the spirit. With patience and compassion, Rhiannon managed to establish a dialogue with the spirit. She asked about its past, its pains, and its desires. The spirit, surprised by Rhiannon's kindness, began to change its aggressive stance. It told her about ancient times when it was a respected guardian until it was imprisoned by those who feared its power. Gradually, its malicious energy dissipated, revealing an entity seeking redemption and companionship. Rhiannon, with her compassionate heart, promised the spirit she would find a way to restore its honor and find a purpose for it. Instead of using the containment spell to imprison it again, she decided to find a solution that would allow the spirit to live in peace. She proposed creating a sanctuary where it and other magical entities could coexist harmoniously, away from human fear and hostility. The spirit, touched by Rhiannon's sincerity, accepted her offer. Together, they worked to create a sanctuary in the heart of Eldoria's forest. Rhiannon used the ingredients she had collected to cast a protection spell around the sanctuary, ensuring it was a safe haven for all magical creatures. The spirit, in turn, helped gather other entities and establish rules for peaceful coexistence. During the process, Rhiannon learned much about the spirit and herself. She realized that true strength lies not only in magical power but in the ability to listen and understand others. Her journey taught her the importance of compassion and respect and how these values can transform even the darkest situations. As the sanctuary took shape, Rhiannon and the spirit developed a deep and sincere friendship. They worked together to ensure the sanctuary was a place of learning and growth, where everyone could find peace and purpose. Rhiannon, alongside the spirit, dedicated herself to maintaining the safety and balance of this new home, knowing she had turned a threat into a powerful alliance. The confrontation with the spirit turned out to be a moment of great transformation for Rhiannon. She went from being a curious and inexperienced young sorceress to a wise and compassionate guardian. Her journey proved that with determination and an open heart, it is possible to overcome any challenge and find peaceful solutions to the most complex problems. With the spirit now as her ally, Rhiannon was ready to protect Eldoria and ensure a harmonious future for all its inhabitants. After calming the spirit, Rhiannon and he worked together to create a sanctuary where magical creatures and spirits could coexist peacefully. This place, located in the heart of Eldoria's forest, became a refuge of peace and harmony. With the spirit's help, Rhiannon cast a powerful protection spell around the sanctuary, ensuring it was safe from external threats and negative influences. The sanctuary quickly transformed into a symbol of hope and renewal. Magical creatures from all over Eldoria began to arrive, seeking a place where they could live in safety and freedom. The spirit, now a benevolent guardian, helped guide the new inhabitants and establish a community based on mutual respect and cooperation. Rhiannon dedicated herself to maintaining peace and harmony within the sanctuary. She mediated conflicts, offered advice, and used her magical skills to help the community thrive. Her ability to communicate with all creatures made her a natural leader, respected and loved by all. Each day brought new challenges but also new opportunities to learn and grow. As the sanctuary flourished, Rhiannon reflected on her journey. She had started as a curious young sorceress and now had become a guardian of a peaceful refuge. The lessons she learned along the way about courage, compassion, and understanding had transformed not only her but also the world around her. The sanctuary was proof that with dedication and empathy, it was possible to create an environment where everyone could live in harmony. Over time, Rhiannon's sanctuary became a meeting place for magical beings of all kinds. They shared their stories, wisdom, and cultures, enriching life in the sanctuary and strengthening the bonds between different creatures. The diversity of the sanctuary was its greatest strength, and Rhiannon was proud to have created a place where everyone felt valued and accepted. The spirit, once a malicious and lonely entity, was now a loyal ally and friend to Rhiannon. He dedicated himself to protecting the sanctuary and supporting Rhiannon in her responsibilities. Together, they organized rituals and festivals that celebrated magic and life, further strengthening the community and the bond between its members. As she watched the sunset from the sanctuary, Rhiannon reflected on the power of understanding and compassion. She realized that sometimes, what seems like a threat can become a beloved ally. The sanctuary was a living testament to this truth, a place where fear and distrust were replaced by love and cooperation. Rhiannon knew her journey was not yet over. There would be new challenges to face and new lessons to learn. But with the spirit by her side and a strong, united community, she was ready for whatever the future might bring. The Eldoria Sanctuary was not just a refuge for magical creatures, it was a beacon of hope and an example that, through empathy and understanding, it is possible to create a better world for all. As the sanctuary thrived, Rhiannon continued to expand her skills and knowledge, determined to maintain peace in Eldoria. One day, while exploring a remote area of the forest, she found an injured young warrior. His name was Kian, and he belonged to a distant tribe known for their bravery and combat skills. Kian had been attacked by a group of dark creatures that threatened the peace of the kingdom. Rhiannon, with her natural empathy, felt Kian's pain and despair. She used her healing abilities to treat his wounds and brought him back to the sanctuary for recovery. During his time at the sanctuary, Kian got to know the magical community and understood the importance of Rhiannon's work. He was impressed by the harmony and cooperation among the diverse creatures and felt inspired to help. Kian shared with Rhiannon and the sanctuary inhabitants the threats his tribe was facing. Dark creatures, controlled by an evil mage, were attacking villages and destroying forests. He believed that Rhiannon's magic and the strength of her community could be the key to defeating this common enemy. Rhiannon, recognizing the seriousness of the situation, decided it was time to form an alliance. She called a council with the sanctuary leaders and discussed Kian's proposal. After hearing his concerns and hopes, they agreed to join forces with Kian's tribe. Rhiannon knew this alliance would not only strengthen the defense against the dark creatures but also promote cooperation and peace among the different peoples of Eldoria. The alliance brought new vigor to the sanctuary. Warriors and mages from different tribes began to arrive, each bringing their unique skills and knowledge. They worked together, training and sharing strategies. Rhiannon and Kian became natural leaders of this coalition, combining Rhiannon's wisdom and magic with Kian's courage and strength. During this time, Rhiannon and Kian developed a deep respect and admiration for each other. Kian was fascinated by Rhiannon's compassion and determination, while she admired his courage and honor. Together, they formed a formidable pair, capable of inspiring and leading others effectively. Over time, the alliance grew stronger, and the coalition was ready to face the dark creatures. Rhiannon used her gift of communication to contact the spirits of the forest and other magical entities, asking for their help in the imminent battle. These entities, recognizing Rhiannon's sincerity and pure intentions, agreed to fight alongside the alliance. The combined army set out towards the territory where the evil mage was based. Along the way, Rhiannon and Kian encountered various challenges, but with their leadership and the collaboration among the coalition members, they overcame them. Each small victory boosted the troops' morale and solidified the bonds between the different tribes and magical creatures. Finally, they reached the evil mage's lair. The ensuing battle was intense and full of dangers. The mage used all his powers to try to defeat the alliance, but Rhiannon, with her wisdom and magical abilities, and Kian, with his courage and skill, led their allies with mastery. The union between humans and magical beings proved to be an invincible force. At the decisive moment of the battle, Rhiannon used a powerful spell she had learned from Alara, combining the energy of all present. This spell destabilized the evil mage, allowing Kian to defeat him. With the mage's fall, the dark creatures were dispersed, and peace began to be restored in Eldoria. After the battle against the evil mage, Rhiannon and Kian's alliance celebrated their victory but knew the true test was yet to come. The mage's spirit, though weakened, still roamed the land, seeking an opportunity to regain his power. Rhiannon knew they needed to destroy the spirit to ensure lasting peace in Eldoria. Alara, Rhiannon's mentor, suggested they perform an ancient ritual to banish the spirit permanently. This ritual required the convergence of energies from all the magical creatures and warriors present. Rhiannon, Kian, and their allies gathered in a sacred circle where each offered a part of their strength and magic. The mage's spirit, sensing the growing power, tried to interrupt the ritual, appearing in the center of the circle as a dark and threatening figure. Rhiannon, with her communication skills, tried to reach out to the spirit one last time, seeking to understand its pain and motivation. She discovered that the mage had once been a powerful guardian who, corrupted by the desire for immortality, had become a destructive force. With this revelation, Rhiannon used empathy and understanding to appeal to the mage's spirit. She offered it a chance for redemption and peace, promising to find a way to honor its memory and restore its role as a guardian. The spirit, touched by Rhiannon's sincerity, hesitated, and the darkness around it began to dissipate. At that moment, Kian and the other Alliance members channeled their energies to strengthen Rhiannon, helping her complete the ritual. With a final spell, Rhiannon freed the mage's spirit from its corruption, allowing it to finally find peace. The malevolent presence that had threatened Eldoria for so long was banished, and light returned to the kingdom. The final battle marked a turning point for all involved. Rhiannon, now wiser and more confident in her abilities, became an even more respected and admired leader. Kian, inspired by Rhiannon's courage and compassion, decided to stay in Eldoria to help protect and preserve the peace they had achieved together. With the threat of the evil mage finally defeated, Rhiannon and her allies returned to the sanctuary, where they were greeted with joy and celebrations. Peace had been restored in Eldoria, and the magical community was stronger and more united than ever. Rhiannon, now recognized as a great leader and guardian, felt a deep sense of accomplishment and gratitude. In the days that followed, Rhiannon reflected on her journey and the lessons she had learned. She knew that true strength came from empathy, understanding, and cooperation. Her ability to communicate with magical creatures had been essential to achieving peace, but it was her compassion and desire for harmony that truly made the difference. Rhiannon dedicated herself to strengthening the bonds between the different tribes and magical beings, promoting collaboration and mutual respect. She organized regular gatherings at the sanctuary, where everyone could share knowledge, stories, and celebrate their cultures. These gatherings not only reinforced unity but also ensured that any future threats could be faced with a collective spirit. Kian, alongside Rhiannon, became a fervent advocate for peace and cooperation between humans and magical beings. He used his combat skills and leadership to train new warriors, ensuring they were prepared to protect Eldoria from any threat. His loyalty and dedication to the kingdom further strengthened the bonds between the tribes. As Rhiannon and Kian walked through the sanctuary at sunset, they reflected on how much they had grown and how much Eldoria had changed. Rhiannon knew her journey was far from over, but she felt prepared to face any challenge the future might bring. She had found not only her purpose, but also a deep sense of peace and belonging. Eldoria, under the protection of Rhiannon and her allies, flourished as a kingdom where magic and nature intertwined in perfect harmony. Magical creatures and humans lived together in respect and cooperation, sharing their lives and knowledge. The sanctuary, which had begun as a refuge, became a symbol of hope and renewal for all. With her heart full of gratitude and hope, Rhiannon looked to the future with confidence. She knew that, regardless of the challenges that arose, unity and understanding would always be the key to maintaining peace and harmony in Eldoria. And so, with her spirit renewed and her role as a guardian solidified, Rhiannon was ready to continue her journey, knowing that true magic lay in the love and compassion she shared with everyone around her. Good night and enchanted dreams.